And as soon as it turns red, there we go. And we are going to start. I think I've already covered 2.1 and 2.3 because that was way back. So I'm not. There we go. These were sent like, I probably already went over these. These are the ones I'm going to go over because these are the ones that look like they were sent, except for this one. That one's not. Okay, since this one don't have a date, that means they were sent very recent. And this, they were sent this morning.
Yeah, that was me. That was me.
And these were sent Tuesday and Monday. So that's all the questions I have. So let's go over 3.3. Number 28. Oh yeah, this is a test question. And it goes in good with finishing up completing the square, even though this is about a 6 or a 7. Okay, because we got up to about 8. And I think I had one more to show y'all. So let's go ahead and write this one down. And it is 2x squared plus 3x plus blank is equal to 1 plus blank. Now I went ahead and moved C over. Okay. Now, of course, we can't have a 2 in front of the x squared because we can't complete the square without that. You have a work email. And that's going to be factoring out a 2. And the pink highlighter comes out to reiterate whatever you factor out, you have to multiply by this blank. Now I'm going to put in a baby step, and I'm going to do it in pink so it'll kind of stand out, because this is where everybody tries to do it in their head and they can't, and they end up messing up. So I'm going to take 3/2. I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm going to square it. And that's going to be 3/2 multiplied by 1/2. Square it. And that's going to be 3/4. Squared is 9/16. So 9/16 goes there, and 9/16 goes there. I'm losing my pink. I think I'm going to have to throw that one away. It's starting to be too light. Now that gives a shortcut number 1. So that's going to be 2 times x plus 3/4 quantity squared equals, well, let's I'm going to rewrite this as 1 plus 2/1, 9/16. And that's going to cancel, leave an 8 right there, and that's going to cancel. So 8/8 plus 9/8 is 17/8. Now at this point we have our vertex, and we know that the parabola is skinny. I don't care what the question's asking, because that's not my priority. My priority is to do completing the square all the way to the end for homework questions. That way, when I get to the test, I can do it no matter what. I can do whatever they want me to do. So I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to put this on the next page. So I've got 2 times x plus 3/4 quantity squared is equal to 17 over 8. So I go over here and I say my vertex is negative 3/4 and negative 17/8. And then I go over here and I say f of x is equal to 2x plus 3/4 quantity squared minus 17/8. And that'll give me a vertex of horizontal shift, chapter 2, negative 3/4 and negative 17/8. And now I'm going to solve. Well, divide by 2 over 1, you multiply by 1 over 2. So x plus 3/4 quantity squared is equal to 17 over 16. Did somebody say something? Okay, glad you're here. And take the square root of both sides. Now this one, please don't put this one on a calculator because if you take the square root of 16 and you get 4, then what's the square root of 17? 4.1. So when you're turning it into a decimal, please don't use a calculator. At least don't let me see you use a calculator to take the square root of 17 when you just took the square root of 16. Okay, please. All right, so x plus 3/4 is equal to the square root of 17 over 4. Now I'm going to do it with the radical, and then I'm going to turn the radical into a decimal. So I'm going to do it the way the homework or the test wants it. So x is equal to square root of 17 minus 3 all over 4. And that's going to be the answer in one form. And you can change that into positive square root of 17 minus 3 over 4, comma, negative square root of 17 minus 3 over 4. And that's probably the one they're going to want. Okay? I don't know. I have to look at it first. Now, I'm going to change it into a decimal because I want to sketch this graph. So x is equal to positive or negative 4.1 minus 3 over 4. Well, you have $4.10 and you buy something that's worth $3, you're left with what? $1.10 divided by 4. You owe $4.10. You owe $3. You owe $7.10 divided by 4. Well, let's see. 4 will go into 11 two times. So that'd be 0.2. And that'll leave, let's see, that'll leave 30. 0.27 is good enough for me. 4 will go into 7 one time. That'll leave 31, which will be 7 and 7. Now, y'all can check my math on the calculator, but I'm going to, oops, I'm sorry, hold on. Let me move that up. But I'm going to sketch the graph, and the graph will tell me if everything lines up or not. So my hold on a second. My y-intercept is -1. So my y-intercept is -1. My x-intercepts are 0.27 and negative 1.77. And my vertex is negative 3/4 and negative 2 point something. And there is your parabola. And of course, domain is all real numbers. The range is negative 17/8 to infinity. Decreasing from negative infinity to negative 3/4, increasing from negative 3/4 to infinity. Line of symmetry always goes through the vertex, so that's going to be negative 3/4. X is equal to negative 3/4. And that is everything that you can do for this quadratic equation. Now we're going to go back to the answer and see. They probably just want the x-intercepts. But I can tell you right now, if you can do all of this, if you can do this and then do this fluently, then you're ready for the Chapter 3 test as far as I'm concerned. So let's see what the answers are. Okay, it says type and exact. Remember I told you exact means what? Exact means radicals. If it has exact in the directions and you don't use radicals, then I'm not going to mark it right. Okay, because I'm having to do that too much. Okay, read the directions. Use integers or fractions or any numbers. Use a comma to separate. Use a comma to separate means they want this form right here. They want this form right here. Because I've got a comma to separate. So, with that being said, let's go back to the question. And I'm going to make a fraction. And I'm going to put the square root of 17. And then move over. And then minus 3 over 4. And then I'm going to go over to the right, comma, and then fraction, negative square root of 17. Minus 3 over 4. And you feel good about yourself. Miss Davis, did you bog down in the mechanics, or was it the answer that gave you the problem?
It was the answer that was giving me the problem.
Yeah. Like I said, those are the three right here. These are the three ways that you can write your answer. And I'll highlight the three ways in green. All right. Technically, there's 4 ways. Okay. Here are the 4 ways. You can write it like this. You can write it like this. Or they may ask you just for negative 1.77 comma 0.27, or the homework in this question, this question wanted this because it said with commas. And it said exact, so that takes out the decimals. Decimals are approximate. If it asks for approximate, then you can use decimals. And it'll usually tell you where to round it to. So please make sure everybody in the class understands please type in the way they want it. Okay? Now, if they're vague, then I can work with you on giving you credit. If they don't tell you anything, then I can work with you. But if they give you exact and they tell you to put a comma between it, that's what they're wanting right there. So does that make you feel better, Miss Davis?
Yeah, that helps. I think the next one I asked is a similar one to that one, so.
That's all right. We're going to do it anyway because it's complete and square. So I want to hurry. I do want to hurry though because I want to be able to get to the end of completing the square. Let me go to the other questions first. Let me go to the other ones. This one is 3.4, 11, and 37. So I got two different ones right here. 3.4, 11/6. Okay, this is not a good question. I thought I went over this one. Did I go over this one? Somebody look in your notes. I think I went over this one. Suppose that x represent one of two positive numbers whose sum is 18. Well, that's going to be x plus y is equal to 18. I did this problem, okay? Because I used x sub 2 right here. Oops, sorry. Does anybody remember me going over this problem?
Yeah, I have it written down.
Okay. It's not a good test question. But I'm going to go over it again if I can remember how to do it, because I've never seen this question before until the first time the other day when somebody sent it in. Okay, and then y is equal to x plus 18, or y, solve for y, that's part A. Part B is y is equal to negative x plus 18. And you want to set that equal to 0. So negative x plus 18 is equal to 0. So negative x is equal to negative 18, and x is equal to 18. So you want to actually use numbers that will give you positive, I guess positives, because 18 plus 8, negative 18 plus 18 is 0. So 19 would give you a negative number. 17 would give you positive numbers. So I guess you could say x is less than 18. X is less than or equal to 18 would be numbers that work and give you a positive number here. But see, there's no restrictions. I don't see any restrictions on x to the first power. You can plug any number. See, that's why I don't like the question. Now, if they said in B, what are the restrictions to make the outcome positive? Then I could say x is less than or equal to 18. But it just says, what are the restrictions? Well, that's an open-ended question, especially when you got x to the first power. X to the first power, you can use any number you want to. So I don't like this question. C, determine a function p that represents the product of the two numbers. Well, that would be x times negative x plus 18. Something to that effect. And then, of course, you graph what is the maximum minimum. That would be negative x squared plus 18x. Oops, 18x. So that's f of x is equal to negative x squared plus 18x. And then you would put that on a calculator and tell me what the max is. This is not, I remember this problem. It is not a good problem. So there's the answers I'm going to give you. Okay. I think that's the answer. And of course you would draw this, and it's going to go through the I don't know what it looks like, but it's going to go through the origin and the y-intercept. It's going to be a upside down parabola, and then you do the trace and find the highest point. I think we said it was 9, and I can't remember. It was a number 9, I think, is one of them. Okay, this is a homework problem. This is not a test question. I would not give you this question on a test because I do not like the question myself. As a teacher, I don't like it. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit. I can't remember who asked the question. Was it Miss Maxon? I know I didn't explain it very well, but the question sucks. Okay, does that help you at least a little bit? Is Miss Maxon here? Does that help you at least a little bit with it, Miss Maxon? Okay, she went back to sleep. Okay. Next, this is 3.437/18. Please don't let it be like that one. Oh yeah, this is one that did we get through this one the other day? The frog. Did we get through the frog? Okay, I think we did both of those questions. So I'm going to get rid with that one. And I got enough time to go over this 3.3 question for you. 3.36729. And if it's a complete and square, it's a chapter 3. There we go. Okay, so let's do this one. And then I'm going to try to go through this one a little bit faster so we can get to what I need to get to. All right. So we've got 2x squared minus 5x plus 17 plus blank is equal to 17 plus blank. Now let's go ahead and write out to the side 0, negative 17 is our y-intercept. So that's going to be, I'm going to factor out a 2. That's going to give me x squared minus 5/2 x plus blank is equal to 17 plus 2 over 1 times blank. And I just put that 2 over 1 because I know since this is a fraction, I'm going to be putting a fraction here and there. So here's I'm going to do this in another color because that means I'm going off to the side here. Let's see, 5/2 divided by 2 over 1 raised to the second power. And that's going to give me 5/2 times 1 over 2 raised to the second power. 5/4 raised to the second power, which is 25/16. And this green one is going to the trash can with the pink one. 25/16. So it's going to the trash can. Okay, so on this side, we've got shortcut number 2. So that's going to be 2 times x minus 5/4 quantity squared is equal to, and I'm going to do this, let's see, that 2 cancel there and make an 8. And I have no idea what 8 times 17 is, so I'm going to guess 136. Somebody help me out there. 8 times 17, what is it? Okay, that means, okay. Thank you, Mr. Stiles. I appreciate your interaction. And 136 would be 161 over 8. Oh, help me out. 161 over 8. And there is my vertex. Vertex, I'm just going to write it over here, is 5/4, comma, negative 161 over 8. There's my vertex. And now I'm going to solve. Divide by 2. When I divide by 2 over 1, I multiply by 1 over 2. So x minus 5/4 quantity squared is equal to 161 over 16. Take the square root of both sides. X minus 5/4 is equal to something over 4. Well, 161. I'm going to go to my handy dandy bag of tricks. And I know, let's see, 144. 144 is 12. 13 is 169. So 12 is equal to 144. 13 is equal to 169. 12.5 is equal to, let's see, 44, that'd be 25. Half of 25 is 12. 12 would be 156. So 156, the square root of 156 is 12.5. Let's see, we need 161. 156 is, what is that, 12? Something like 12. Half of 12 is 6. That'd be 162. 162 is 12.75. So I'm going to say 12.7 just for later. 12.7. Y'all can check me. What's the square root of 161? Please check that, please. Okay, but this is going to be the square root of 161 right here. And if I wanted to write it as a answer, it would be x is equal to positive or negative square root of 161 plus 5 all over 4. $12.68. Really? Okay, 12.68. All right. And so it's so good that y'all have a calculator, because I don't know how we'd get by without a calculator since I got 12.7. Anyway, so that's that, and I'm going to type in the answer as a positive 161 plus 5 over 4 and a negative 161. Let's see what the answer, let's see what the directions tell us. The directions tell us please. I'm sorry. Had to tell my son something. All right, it says use exact and use the comma. So I'm going to go with fraction square root of 161. And you may be able to reduce 161, but I'm not going to try to do that now. Plus 5 over, thank you, over 4. And then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to put comma. And I'm going to do fraction negative square root of 161. Go to the right. Go to the, well, I didn't, I thought. Okay. Plus 5 divided by 4. Okay, unless, oh, see there, that's not supposed to, I thought I hit the right arrow. Right arrow plus, there we go, 5. I'm glad you asked those 2 questions, Miss Davis, because that way I got to explain how you type in the answers. Okay, 12.68. All right. So that takes care of those. Delete, 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 delete. Okay, now I want to finish. I only got a little bit, but I want to finish. Let's see what time's class over. 10 o'clock, so I got 15 minutes. Okay. Let me get to the, here is the last completing the square that you need to know. And y'all can go ahead and quit right after I write it, okay? 1/2 x squared plus 3/2 x minus 1/2 is equal to 0. So go ahead and quit. Why are you going to go ahead and quit? Because you can't what? Can't do fractions. So 1/2 x squared plus 3/2 x plus blank is equal to 1/2 plus blank. All right, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. I'm going to put you on stopwatch. Give you a couple, 3 minutes to work on this. And your time starts now. I wouldn't even try it. I'd just give up. Self-improvement is so overrated. All right, that's about close to 3 minutes. And here we go. Now I'm going to factor out a 1/2. And that's going to leave me with x squared plus blank x plus blank is equal to 1/2 plus 1/2 times blank. Now, a lot of you are like, well, why don't you do that? So I'm fixing to, because I got to put a baby step in here, because I know students suck at dividing by a fraction. So I'm going to do it in blue. Well, I'm going to do 3/2 divided by 1/2, because that's what you do when you divide by when you factor, you divide. Oops. And that's going to be 3/2 multiplied by 2/1. And that's going to be, I'm going to use a new color. Let's use that green. And that's going to be 3. And it didn't turn out to be half as bad as you thought it was. And now we're going to complete the square. Okay, so now we're going to complete the square. And I'm going to do that in purple. So 3 divided by 2 squared is 9/4. And now you're ready. Shortcut number 1 on the left. It's going to be 1/2 times x plus 3/4 quantity squared is equal to, well, this is going to be 9/8. And this is going to be 1/2. So you got to have a common denominator of 8 and 8. 2, we're going to 8. 4 times 1 is 4. So that's going to be 13/8. And now you have your vertex. You got your y-intercept. Let's go ahead and highlight that y-intercept. Now you got your vertex. Vertex is -3/4 and -13/8. And now let's solve it. Let y'all take a second to catch up if you need to. Those of you that hadn't solved it yet, finish it out. Solve this for x. So 1/2 x plus 3/4 quantity squared is equal to 13/8. Divide by 1/2. Divide by 1/2, which means I'm going to multiply by 2/1. X plus 3/2, I'm sorry, 3/4 quantity squared is equal to, well, that 2, we'll take this out, be a 4, and it's going to be 13/4. Square root, x plus 3/4 is equal to the square root of 13/2. And x is equal to, positive or negative, the square root of 13/2 subtract 3/4. Now, this is not going to be a test question probably because I don't think the book has a problem this difficult in it. So we're going to change that into a decimal so we can finish it out. All right, so the square root of 13. Well, the square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 16 is 4. So the 9/16 is 7. The square root of 12.5 is 13.5. So I'm going to say 3.6. X is equal to positive or negative 3.6 divided by 2 minus 0.75. 3.6 divided by 2 is 1.8. So X is equal to positive or negative 1.8 minus 0.75. So positive 1.8, you have $1.80 in your pocket, and you buy something that's worth 75 cents, and you got $1.05 left. So $1.05 is one x-intercept. You owe somebody $1.80. You owe somebody else 75 cents. What is that going to be? 255? Somebody help me out. Negative 255. Somebody add a 1.8 and 75 and tell me if you get 2.55, please.
Yeah, it's 2.55.
Thank you for the interaction. I appreciate that. All right, so now just see if it lines up on the handy dandy graph. Now, why am I drawing such a big graph? Because 1/2 is orientation. What does that 1/2 tell us? It's going to be a wide graph, like a satellite dish or something. I mean, it's going to be wide. Okay, so negative 1/2 is our y-intercept. And our our vertex is negative 3/4. Negative 3/4. And 8 will go in there one time. 1 5/8 or something like that. Yeah, 1 5/8, which is 1.5. So I'm going to go down 1.5 right there. And one x-intercept is 1.05. Now it's not lining up exactly right because I don't have a, that needs to be up a little bit. They don't line up. It's supposed to be very wide. And negative 2.55. It's looking like this, kind of. Okay. And domain is all real numbers. Range is negative, what is it, 13/8 to positive infinity. Decreasing, negative infinity to negative 3/4. Increasing from negative 3/4 to infinity. Line of symmetry always goes through the vertex. So that would be x is equal to negative 3/4. And you have just finished completing the square. I guarantee you there's some of y'all out there that never thought you would be. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know why, because I paid for extra dadgum internet service from AT&T. Shouldn't be doing that. Unless it's my son's, but I think my son is on hotspot, so we won't interfere with his class. So that means AT&T sucks. Okay, thank you, Mr. Stiles. I guarantee you there's some of y'all out there that never knew how to do completing the square, and now you do. And I hope that's true, because completing the square is very important in calculus. Okay, so anybody got anything to say about how you feel about completing the square now? Miss Davis, you talked to me, so I'd appreciate. Did you know completing the square before you took this class?
No, I didn't at all.
Well, good. How do you feel now? I mean, I know you haven't
And
mastered it yet, but you still got to practice it. But how do you feel now?
better, but
Good.
not 100% yet.
Okay. Well, hopefully you're at least 60, 70%. How about that?
Yeah, I could say that.
Okay, good. Well, that's what the weekend is for. Okay, the weekend is for you to hone it out. And if you could do everything that I do as far as graphing it, sketching it, domain range, then you can handle the chapter 3 test and the chapter 2 test, because everything that we're doing in completing the square is on the chapter 2 test. Okay.
This is the first weekend I've had off since we started this, so I'm actually going to get to study.
Well, good. I'm glad. Where do you work?
Walmart pharmacy.
Bless your heart.
And it's flu season, so we're working overtime
what's the
all the
flu?
time.
I'm sorry. What's the flu? Oh, I'm sorry. That's not politicized. Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we're not supposed to talk about the flu. It's not politicized. Okay. So anyway, let's get out of this and let me check the roll. And then guess what y'all have to do all weekend? Y'all got to catch up and get that chapter 3 homework done, and chapter 2 finished up. I don't know if it's still open or not, but we're gonna probably review. If I don't get any questions, we're probably going to review Monday or Wednesday, depending on how many questions I get. So with that being said, let me just check and see who hasn't attended on Monday or Wednesday, and then the rest of y'all. Hold on a second. Let me get out of this and stop the recording.